Hello and welcome to Badminton Europe podcast. I'm Mark Phelan. As always for Badminton Europe, and it's my great pleasure to welcome Kenneth Jonassen beside me. Kenneth, thank you very much for taking the time out and joining us here in the Badminton Europe podcast. And if you can just kind of start this conversation, Kenneth, just taking a retrospective short look back at the transition maybe from player to coach. How was that for you, and was that always in your mind to become a coach after a player?
It wasn't always in my mind, but the transition actually came quite naturally. At 25 I started coaching. Got from one Danish club that they could look at me as a coach. I wasn't really sure. I turned them down the very first year. I said no, I wasn't interested, just doing my playing days. And then the year after, and then just suddenly the transition came. I found out that okay, I like this. Working with players, at club level, you work with different motivation why you play and so on, and you have to get to know people very different than what you normally do. So I kind of like that bit. And then slowly it just came, this could be the next thing for me. And at the very end, it was a very big motivation, because I actually wanted to sit more on the chair than actually be on court. I think I could carry it on 2 or 3 years at that time, but I was more interested in how this transition would be, sitting on the chair behind and working with players at home in the training environment.
Was there kind of a eureka moment where you went, oh, this is for me, or was it just a general thing that developed over a few years?
Yeah, it was a general thing. I asked some of the coaches at that time, could I sit and spar with them while I was sitting and listening to their coaching. It kind of just motivated me. And I think I've been the kind of player that picked up a lot of different things from different coaches, and just kind of had an idea that putting all that together could be an interesting mix as a coach, coaching younger players.
You went to England, of course, and we can hear that in your accent for sure. And you got some good grounding there.
Yeah.
I think you would probably admit that. And what was that like, that time in England? And then have you brought much of that knowledge with you back to Denmark?
Yeah, the first year and a half I was in Denmark, and I kind of felt that I needed to stand on my own, to see and to learn more. So I would definitely say that the 3 years I had with Badminton England and GB Badminton was really important for me in terms of learning the trade, getting educated at a higher level. I definitely felt that together with the UK Sport and so on, they pushed me and moved me in the right direction. I kind of felt that I got answers on a lot of questions that I had as a young coach, and that put me in the perfect frame of mind when I got asked by Chief of Sport Finn Trerup Hansen if I was interested in getting back to Denmark. So it was a great learning experience at those young years.
Back in Denmark, as a coach, your coaching career, let's call it, but you've taken it to a new level. Everyone in badminton or knows badminton, who watches it, sees you behind the court and sees this passion. But you seem to have this really special relationship with Viktor, of course, and I'm sure you have a really good relationship with everyone. But everyone sees this as a special relationship. We saw it when he won in Dubai. We saw the passion from you, and again at the World Championships. What a week that was. What makes that relationship special, Kenneth?
Well, I think I listen a lot to the players, so I kind of go into a working relationship that it's we find goals together. It is my job to try to get young players to achieve these goals, and look at their capacity of how to improve, and I'm very honest with them, and so when we put up goals, they put up goals. I'm there to push them to reach those goals, and it's not just goals about winning. It's also about how you want to be on court, how hard what you want to be known for when you're on court, how in practice and so on. So that kind of me being very honest and expecting the very same from my players brings out the passion. And when we get to achieve things which I've done from Viktor, and getting his honesty and frustration and hard times and anger and tears and whatever we've been through the last close to 5 years, it's just unique. I feel that I'm a small part of it. I put in the possibilities, and each player put in the very, very hard work and have to want to work with themselves, because I only give them options. I'm not very dictating, you have to do this, you have to do that. But if you want to achieve this goal, this is kind of the way we have to go about it, and now you work hard on it.
Okay.
So the honesty between us, I feel, is the...
Yeah.
But I can't do it without the honesty. And dedication, obviously, but that comes from being very honest.
Sometimes with Viktor, and I would have seen him growing as a young boy. I remember the first time I interviewed him, he was shorter than me.
Yeah, that must be a long time ago.
And then the next time, yeah, it was a very long time ago. And the next time I was like this.
Yeah.
But sometimes I saw him as a player who got very frustrated with himself on court. And I think from a little bit of Danish I know, I've often seen him turn to you and go, "Oh, I'm not feeling it today." And you're able to give him something back to turn that around. What is that? You know, what is? Can you put a sentence on it? What is that something special you can get that you have? And he's world champion, and he's the best in the world, but he has some higher level respect for you. That what is that?
I think it's very difficult to put in a single sentence, but I think mutual respect for each other. I think that together with the honesty, the mutual respect, that whatever it takes, wherever we stand, whatever been said, we're there for a common goal, and that is trying to achieve that win on the very day. Obviously working very closely with a player like Viktor for this many years, and I've learned to read him a lot better sometimes than obviously he understands himself, so I can see it. But it's again the clear communication. I think many people also look at our communication together from the chair and back and forwards is very unique, but it's the good, clean, honest communication, and then respect from. I might not always say what he wants to hear. I might get it wrong once in a while, but it's the overall that we're going for the bigger things that. Well, we got good respect for each other, and I think that is one of the key.
So honesty and respect is what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah.
And telling him sometimes what he doesn't want to hear. Oh, you're a brave man.
Yeah, yeah. But again, as I said, it's very clear that we're there for a common goal. Yeah. So when we practice home, where the frustrations are once in a while even bigger, then you need that honesty, and you need that respect. That I gotta push you in the right direction. We are here to push the limit as well. Yeah. And that is hard work, and also when you're not feeling up for it. The first 3-4 days of practice, you have a mental capacity, and then on the 5th day you don't have that anymore, and then we get down to the honest what's left in you. Okay. How much do you want it? And that's where I really push the players, and because if you got to win these massive tournaments, it's on the 5th or the 6th day, you got to perform your very best, and it's where you're the most tired probably. That's going to be finals day.
Yep. Viktor is only one element of a group of boys, and this group of boys have done phenomenally well for Denmark in the last 2 years, and we're talking particularly here about the Thomas Cup win, and wow. What a week, because it was a tough week between injuries and illness and whatever else. The gods were throwing everything they had at you guys. You were there as kind of manager of both the teams or whatever, but what got you guys through that and to win that Thomas Cup?
We tried to put a lot of words in it, what actually went well that week, but we were well prepared. From home, I would say each player knew their place. There were no massive stars in it. Everybody was there cheering for each other. Everybody would have a bye or would help each other at any time. So I just felt that the team that week, everybody was together. There weren't any stars. Yeah. Everybody was there for a common goal. And we kind of had this fun thing, we just need 3 matches. And all the players are still joking about it. That's my comment. We just need to find 3 matches. And whatever we throw in 3 matches. And as I said, preparation is key at such things, because how do you prepare for a young player like at that time Emil Holst to be in a 2-all semi-finals, and then you have to deliver, and it's way above where we ever been before. And I said preparation, this is what we talked about going into the tournaments weeks and weeks before, that this is why you're here, could be your task. The same with Viting, who's coming in against Malaysia. Again, love 2 down. So this is the situation. What can we learn? I've just felt that the team was mature for this time. Yeah. Age, youth, put together, perfect combination, and a great team spirit for the week.
Going ahead, you're the
and luck. Yeah, we were lucky. We had the right matchup, but we also made the luck happen at the right time. But we had some luck, and I think you need that to achieve over a week and beat the teams we did that week.
We've spoken about the boys, and we're going to now drift towards the girls' side of Danish badminton. And it's been a lean time. I think we have to acknowledge that. Take Camilla and Christina aside, who have been phenomenal for Denmark over the years in everything, on, off the court. But outside of that, it's not exactly rosy in terms of
I'll give you that.
Huge amounts of talent coming through. The work is there, and you can see the players out there, and they work their ass off. But how are you guys in Badminton Denmark working, say, back at grassroots to try and develop a new generation of Tinas and Camillas and Christinas?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking that I'm looking at this as, at one point there will be like a generation gap, maybe to say, but we're working very hard. I'm thinking this is a young generation. Instead of putting what has been achieved in the past on their shoulders, that's way too heavy a burden to lift. I'm thinking that we have to give them time. We have to push them very hard. Obviously, there needs to be results, but for me, it's more how hard and dedicated you work at home. Learning from every time you go to a tournament, being that honesty and trying to push yourself to that very high level, not setting the bar too low, but again, not too high, but you want to reach for that bit. So I think the right goal setting is also key here. I think we have the talent. I think we just maybe skipped, not a full generation, that's being too harsh, but that the journey is longer. But if we look at some of our players, when they actually kind of push through to the very top, we have to give them time. We've had a few injuries from players that retired in between with some of the lady singles players, and it's not an excuse whatsoever, but we're definitely working hard on girls and pushing them. And it will take some time, but I'm not looking for them to peak immediately. And yeah, there could be a couple of years where we're not achieving the same results, but we're definitely going to push, and it is the ultimate goal is to be hopefully as successful as we've been in the past, but I don't want to put that kind of heavy burden on the players.
I'm not sure if you noticed, but I noticed, and say we've had in the recent last few weeks German juniors, Dutch juniors, and there's a distinct lack of Europeans at quarterfinals onwards. We always get the good Asians coming over. Yeah. Is that a worrying thing, in your opinion?
Obviously, a little bit. I think that it gets more and more clear that Asia, as such, is a powerhouse. We are struggling in Europe overall. I think that the resources they have available, both in terms of number of players, but also financially, and how they can kind of build their system in terms of education and so on. I think they're pushing the limits, and we are lacking the ability to do the same. I still believe that we can challenge, but it is going to be a very, very difficult time ahead. No matter what country you are, being Denmark with a great history doesn't really makes any difference if you don't have players pushing. But I'm looking at it and saying, yeah, definitely needs to be hard work done, and we just have to keep working hard at it. But it is more worrying. But having said that, I've heard those rumors for many, many years, and we kind of always seem to find a way. That doesn't make me sleep better, but it gives me a little bit comfort that keep trusting how we work with players, how we educate our young talent, eventually will give us what we need at the very end. But I can't say there will be the same ability to keep competing with the very best of Asian on a broad spectrum of categories. It might be slightly more specialized, and it will be from country to country instead of in all 5 disciplines.
We'll start to wrap this up, Kenneth, but I just want to ask you about, your future. What's left? How many boxes are left to tick for Kenneth, and what you want to achieve, and where you want to, when you finally say, "Oh, guys, I'm hanging it up, and I'm going to be a commentator or something." What boxes will you want to have checked at that point?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a good question. I would say that.
Bearing in mind you've already ticked Thomas Cup World Champion.
Yeah. But then there's the last very big one. There's Olympic goal obviously out there in the future. That is huge goals, I would say, for any aspiring and hungry player that want to achieve that bit. As such, I just think that when you have success, you want more success. For me, what really inspires me is the everyday work with the players, helping them to achieve their goals and trying to develop them both a little bit as a person, but overall into world contenders. But it doesn't come without having some results. I don't have a specific what I need to achieve. For me, it still has to be motivating. Coming to work, I feel I'm blessed in that. I'm very pleased what I do every single day. But working with players has to be the main focus for me, no matter what kind of title I will get at the very end. So I just want to achieve and keep pushing that limit. But I could easily see me after terms here in Denmark pushing outside Denmark's border again to try to see what's out there and how where I'm at now with my experience, what that could do again. Having understood both the outside mindset of being abroad once and then coming back into Denmark, what really works. And then again, at the very end, I could easily see going back to club system and trying to use my experience in developing young players. I don't think I'll be especially suited to work on court, but maybe inspiring coaches to work them in terms of that. So I definitely hope that badminton will be a part of my life as long as I'm able to do that, because I feel that I've learned so much. I want to give back, and I feel inspired every day, as I said, when I work with players that want to achieve something. Hopefully it will be badminton, and I don't mind doing a bit of commentating either.
I think whatever it'll be, Kenneth, you will be in high demand, be it media, be it coaching, be it public speaking, or whatever it may be. But with that, we'll wrap this up, and I would like to thank Kenneth for taking this time to join us. And don't forget that with Badminton Europe, follow us on all our social media channels across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and hit the subscribe button, of course, on YouTube. Once again, Kenneth, thank you for joining us here on Badminton Europe podcast, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.